The Warzone was silent. Not the normal kind of silence that space always carried. This silence felt wrong. It felt heavy, almost like the air itself was holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to happen again. Broken enemy ships drifted slowly across the battlefield. Some were torn in half, others burned from inside, and many looked as if something had crushed them without even touching them. There were no explosions now, no radio messages, no bright weapon flashes, only the cold, empty shapes of dead ships floating in darkness. From the far edge of the battlefield, a small human scout ship approached. It was called Horizon 3, one of the fastest recon ships in the fleet. It was not built for fighting. It was built for searching and surviving. Inside Horizon 3, the crew sat tense and quiet. No one liked the feeling of this place. "Bring us closer," Captain Mira said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed worry. She had been in battles before, many battles, but never had she seen a field so quiet, so empty, and so wrong. The ship moved slowly between the broken enemy vessels. The crew scanned everything, trying to understand what had happened here. Lieutenant Rian looked at his screen and frowned. "There are no active life signs. Not a single one," he said softly. "Not even enemy survivors?" Engineer Laura asked. "Nothing," Rian replied. "It's like someone erased them." Myra leaned forward. "Keep scanning. Something about this doesn't make sense." The sensors beeped suddenly, and Rian's eyes widened. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures." "From where?" Mira asked. "Everywhere," he answered. "The battlefield is full of leftover energy. Something powerful passed through this place. Very powerful." The crew exchanged nervous looks. "But where is the enemy?" Laura whispered. "Where is anyone?" Myra didn't answer. She didn't know. Humanity's main battle fleet was still several minutes away. They had picked up a distress signal earlier, so Horizon 3 was sent ahead to check the situation. But whatever happened here, it happened before anyone arrived. Rian zoomed the scanner and pointed at the screen. "Captain, look at this." Myra's eyes narrowed. On the display was a strange dark patch in empty space, a perfect circular mark, like a burn on the fabric of reality itself. "What is that?" Laura asked, confused. "It's not debris," Rian said. "And it's not a shadow." Mira stared at it carefully. "It looks like something. Erased matter." The crew fell silent. Erased matter? How could anything erase matter? Even the most advanced weapons known to humanity could only destroy, break, or vaporize, not erase. Myra felt a cold shiver run through her. "Move closer," she ordered. As Horizon 3 drifted toward the black mark, the lights inside the ship flickered. The engines hummed strangely, as if something was pulling at them. "Captain, there's interference," Laura said. "The energy here is unstable," Rian added. "Something is affecting our systems. I don't like this." "Stay calm," Mira replied. "We just need to collect data before the fleet arrives." But she didn't feel calm. Something deep in her mind told her they were not alone. The sensors beeped again, this time louder. "Faster." "Captain, we're picking up a signal." Myra stood immediately. "A distress call." "No, not exactly," Rian said slowly. "It's a mix of human and alien code." "That's impossible," Laura said. "How can two different species broadcast the same message?" Rian shook his head. "I don't know. And the message is scrambled. It keeps repeating different parts." The ship's speakers crackled with static. A low, broken voice echoed through the cabin. "Not danger." Then the signal broke. Mira's eyes hardened. "Try to clean it." Rian worked quickly, adjusting frequencies, rerouting power, boosting the receiver. Static filled the room again. "They are..." "Wah." The message cut off suddenly. "What was that last part?" Laura whispered. Rian swallowed. "It said waiting." The lights flickered again. Myra took a deep breath. "Someone is warning us." Rian checked the monitor again and froze completely. "Captain, we have a bigger problem." "What now?" She asked. "This signal, it's coming from multiple sources," Rian said. "How many?" Rian's voice shook as he answered. "All of them. Every destroyed enemy ship is broadcasting the same message." Mira's heart dropped. "Dead ships. No survivors. Yet they were sending a warning." Laura whispered. "Captain, who is they?" Before Myra could answer, the ship's alarm screamed loudly. "Unknown energy wave approaching," Rian shouted. "It's coming straight toward us." The whole ship trembled. The lights dimmed. Outside the window, the black burn mark in space began to grow. Like an opening eye, Myra grabbed the command chair tightly. "Everyone brace." The ship shook again as the energy wave hit them. The dark mark pulsed like something was alive inside it. And then, through the static, the signal came one last time, clear, loud, and terrifying. "Do not enter. They are waiting." The screen went black. And Horizon 3 drifted in silence. Horizon-3 floated in the middle of the silent battlefield, its lights still flickering from the strange energy wave. Inside the ship, the crew tried to recover from the sudden shock. Captain Mira steadied herself and checked the status screen's report. She ordered. Rian wiped sweat from his forehead. "Systems are back. Mostly, the scanners are still unstable, and the engines need time to reset." Laura looked pale. "Captain, whatever hit us wasn't natural. It felt like something pushed into our ship." Myra nodded slowly. She felt the same. The energy wave wasn't random. It had direction, purpose. Intent. Just then, the communication panel lit up. Captain, incoming transmission from command, Rian said. The main fleet is arriving. A moment later, bright flashes appeared across the dark space one after another. The darkness of the war zone was suddenly replaced by the powerful glow of human battleships jumping out of hyperspace. Dozens of massive vessels appeared in perfect formation, heavy dreadnoughts with armor thick as mountains, battle carriers with long decks full of fighters, destroyers and cruisers forming protective lines, medical ships and support craft behind them. The sight was breathtaking. Humanity's fleet was here. The comm channel opened, and a deep voice spoke. This is Admiral Cade of the 7th Battle Fleet, Horizon 3. Report your status. Mira straightened. Admiral, we have discovered something unusual. The enemy ships are destroyed completely, but not by any known weapon. What do you mean? The Admiral asked. Rian answered quietly. Sir, we found areas of space where matter itself has been erased. There was a long silence. Then the Admiral spoke again, voice tight. Transmitting your data now. Stand by. The fleet began spreading out, their engines glowing as they scanned the field. The biggest ship, the dreadnought HFS Dominion, took position at the center. Its cannons and shield arrays looked like floating cities, but even with all their power, the silence made everyone uneasy. Laura whispered, "Why aren't we picking any enemy signals? They should be here. This was their territory." Rian nodded. And why were the wrecks sending that warning? Who hijacked their systems? Mira stared at the black burn mark ahead. She didn't know the answer, but something inside her told her the danger had not passed. The comm crackled again. Horizon 3, Admiral Cade here, the Admiral said. Your last message contains a mixed signal, human and alien code combined. Yes, sir, Myra replied. We received a warning multiple times. What did it say? Cade asked. Myra took a breath. It said, do not enter. They are waiting. The Admiral didn't speak for a moment. When he finally answered, his tone was serious. Captain Mira, maintain position. We will analyze the battlefield. Keep your sensors on full power. Yes, Admiral. But Horizon 3's sensors were already struggling. Static waves ran through the screens again. Rian frowned. Captain, something is wrong. The energy readings are rising again. From where? Myra asked. Rian hesitated. Everywhere. The whole battlefield is changing. The fleet's central command began sending orders. All units, stay alert. Unknown enemy may be cloaked. Human battleships shifted into combat formation. Weapons armed, shields raised. Fighter squadrons launched from carriers, like swarms of glowing insects. But the battlefield still remained silent, too silent. Suddenly, Laura pointed at the main screen. Captain, look, all around the battlefield, the broken enemy ships' silent fours began to move, slowly, gently, drifting in the same direction. That's impossible, Rian said. There's no power in those ships, they're just scrap. But the wrecks kept moving toward the black burn mark in space, toward the place where the wave had come from. Admiral Cade broadcasted instantly. All ships prepare for contact. Something is manipulating the debris. The wrecks rotated and aligned in perfect formation. Like puppets pulled by invisible strings, the burned mark in space glowed brighter, pulsing with dark energy. Myra felt her chest tighten. They're not moving on their own, she said softly. Something is pulling them. Rian's screen beeped loudly. Captain, I'm detecting cloaked objects. Myra's eyes widened. Where? Rian answered in a shaking voice. All around us. On the screen, dozens, no hundreds of red dots appeared. They had been hiding, invisible, blending with the static of the battlefield, and now they were waking up. The Admiral's voice thundered across the comm. All ships in me contact. Form defensive wall. Bright flashes exploded across space as the hidden enemy ships slowly decloaked. Their designs were dark, twisted, almost alive. Their armor looked like metal fused with bone. Red energy veins pulsed across their bodies, glowing like beating hearts. They surrounded the human fleet completely. Captain Myra, Admiral Cade shouted. Pull Horizon 3 back to the rear line. But Mira couldn't move. Her screen was showing something more frightening than the enemy fleet. The black void in space. The burned hole was opening wider. Something huge, something ancient, something monstrous was rising from inside it. Laura whispered, voice shaking. Captain, that warning wasn't about these ships, Rian added nervously. It was about what's coming. The enemy ships charged their weapons. The black void pulsed again. The fleet braced for battle. And Admiral Cade's final order echoed through Horizon 3. Humanity, prepare for war. The battlefield lit up with a sudden red glow as the hidden enemy ships fully declined. They appeared like shadows turning solid dark, twisted shapes with sharp edges and glowing symbols that no human had ever seen before. Their hulls looked alive, almost breathing, as if they were made from a mix of metal and some strange organic matter. Inside Horizon 3, the crew stared in shock. Rian whispered, Captain, they were here the entire time, waiting. His voice was shaking now. Mira nodded slowly. This was the trap. Outside, the human fleet rearranged itself quickly. The dreadnought HFS Dominion moved to the front line, its shields glowing bright blue. Battle cruisers formed defensive circles. Fighters launched from carriers, spreading like wings of fire. Admiral Cade's voice boomed across all channels. All units, lock targets. Enemy fleets surrounding us from all directions. Prepare to fire. But the enemies didn't attack yet. They simply moved slow, steady, and controlled, like predators studying their prey. Myra felt her heartbeat rise. This silence, I hate it. Rian's screen flashed suddenly. Captain, enemy energy buildup detected. They're charging weapons. A second later, the space around the human fleet exploded with bright red beams. The enemy fired first. Huge crimson blasts struck several human destroyers. One ship, the HFS Blade Runner, was hit directly and broke apart into burning pieces. Laura covered her mouth. They hit us before we even finished locking targets. Admiral Cade roared. Return fire. All ships opened fire. Human vessels fired everything they had. Blue plasma beams, missile swarms, railgun shots, ion cannons. The battlefield became a storm of light blue and red beams crossing in every direction. Ships dodged, weaved, and shielded one another. Fighters clashed with alien drones in burning arcs. But something was wrong, Captain, Rian said. Our weapons are not fully damaging them. What? Mira asked. They're absorbing part of our attacks. Their shields are different, alive. Outside, a human cruiser fired a heavy plasma cannon at one alien ship. The alien hull rippled like liquid metal, absorbed the plasma, and then redirected it, firing the stolen energy back at the cruiser. The cruiser exploded instantly, Laura whispered. How do we fight something like that? Mira had no answer. More red beams sliced across space. Human ships took heavy hits. One carrier lost its entire fighter deck in seconds. Captain, Rian shouted, the enemy flagship is powering up, the one near the black void. Myra turned toward the screen. There it was, larger, darker, and more terrifying than all the others. Its body looked like a giant black blade floating in space. Red energy veins pulsed like blood running through it. The hull twisted, reshaping itself slowly as if it were alive. Laura stepped back. That thing, it's not a ship, it's something else. Then the flagship released a deep, rumbling sound like a distant roar underwater. Rian checked his screen. Captain, my readings say the flagship is charging a Admiral Cage, Myra called. We need to target the flagship immediately. But before the Admiral could respond, the enemy flagship fired, a massive red beam thick as a mountain erupted toward the human fleet. The beam hit a heavy cruiser first, cutting it into two pieces instantly. The beam continued, striking another ship and sending it spinning into the nebula clouds. The shockwave pushed Horizon 3 violently. Alarms screamed. Sparks shot from the ceiling. The crew grabbed onto anything they could. Rian shouted, shields down to 30%. Mira steadied herself. We need to pull back. But the enemy ships closed in, blocking their escape. More drones swarmed around Horizon 3, like insects drawn to light. Admiral Cade shouted across the fleet. All ships prepare fallback. We cannot fight them like this. But before anyone could move, Rian gasped. Captain, our weapons just shut down. What do you mean shut down? Myra yelled. They're disabled. Something is jamming our systems. Horizon 3 wasn't the only one. Across the battlefield, human ships flickered with electrical surges. Cannons stopped firing. Missiles malfunctioned. Even shields began to weaken. It was as if the enemy had pressed a button and turned off humanity. Then, a cold, mechanical voice echoed through the comm channels, a voice that was not human and not from any known alien language. Your weapons serve us now. Your resistance ends. Laura grabbed Rian's arm. What did it say? Rian answered, voice shaking. It hijacked our systems. It's controlling our weapons. It's inside our ships. The flagship glowed brighter. More enemy vessels moved closer. The human fleet was trapped, weapons offline, shields failing. The enemy surrounding them like sharks. Myra clenched her fists. Admiral Cade, what do we do? The Admiral's voice came through, breath heavy, tone fierce. There is only one choice left. Horizon 3 shook again as enemy ships fired another volley. Cade continued. Activate Titan Protocol. Mira's eyes widened. That's impossible. We've never used it in real battle. The Admiral answered. We use it now, or humanity dies. The enemy ships stopped firing for a moment, as if they sensed something was about to change, and the black void behind the flagship pulsed again, bigger, brighter, as if something enormous was coming through. The enemy had awakened, but so was humanity. The battlefield burned with red light. Human ships struggled to hold their positions while the enemy moved with cold, deadly precision. The alien flagship continued to pulse with dark energy, its weapon cores glowing brighter and brighter. The black void behind it widened slowly, like a gigantic mouth preparing to swallow everything in its path. Inside Horizon 3, alarms echoed through every corridor. Rian fought with the controls, trying desperately to bring weapons back online. It's no use, he shouted. The enemy override is too strong. Laura checked her screens and slammed her fist on the console. Shields dropping, engines overheating. We can't take another hit. Captain Myra stayed focused, even as sparks flicked across the bridge. Hold your positions. The Admiral has a plan. Rian looked at her with disbelief. A plan? Captain, our entire fleet is being destroyed. Mira didn't respond. She trusted Admiral Caden. She feared what he was about to do next. Across the battlefield, a deep voice spread through every human ship. "This is Admiral Cade," he said. "All captains, prepare to initiate Titan Protocol." Silence filled Horizon 3. Laura froze. "Titan Protocol? Is he serious?" Rion's eyes widened. "But that system is experimental. It isn't even stable." Mira nodded slowly. "It's dangerous, but it's our only chance." The Titan Protocol was humanity's most secret project, a system designed to bind every human ship together using a shared AI network. When activated, power from each ship flowed into the next, creating a massive combined energy field. Weapons, shields, and engines multiplied their strength many times over, but the risk was great. If one ship overloaded, the entire network could collapse. Admiral Cade spoke again. "All ships prepare to sink." 5-second countdown. Human ships immediately shifted formation, gathering closer, connecting through invisible energy threads. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A bright blue ripple exploded outward from the flagship HFS Dominion. The Titan Protocol activated. And the universe changed. Human ships glowed with a brilliant blue aura. Energy surged through every vessel like a storm of lightning. Shields repaired themselves instantly. Weapons powered up far beyond normal limits. Inside Horizon 3, the lights brightened until everything felt electric. Rion stared at his console. "Captain, weapons online. All systems are back." Laura gasped. "Our energy levels just tripled." Myra felt a surge of hope. "This is Titan Protocol." Across the battlefield, human ships regained strength. The fleet that had been struggling moments ago now looked like an unstoppable wall of power. The enemy ships hesitated. For the first time, they seemed uncertain, like predators, confused by prey that suddenly grew fangs. Admiral Cade gave the order. "All ships fire." The battlefield erupted. Human dreadnoughts fired massive blue plasma beams that tore straight through enemy armor. Cruisers launched missile storms that moved like burning comets. Fighters flew with impossible speed, weaving around alien drones and shooting them down one by one. A heavy human cannon hit an alien warship square in the chest. The alien hull rippled like liquid, then exploded in a burst of red fire. Rian shouted in excitement. "They're taking damage now. The shields can't absorb our attacks anymore." Laura cheered. "Titan Protocol is overwhelming them." But the victory wasn't complete. The enemy flagship still glowed with dark power. Its red veins brightened, pulsing faster, almost like a heartbeat increasing. Mira stared at it. "It's preparing another attack," Rion confirmed. "Energy buildup is massive. Bigger than before." Admiral Cade's voice returned. "All ships target the flagship. Bring it down before it fires." Human ships turned and unleashed their strongest weapons. Blue beams hit the flagship. Missile swarms detonated against its hull. Rail guns tore cracks along its sides. But the alien vessel refused to fall. Its dark armor melted and reshaped itself, repairing damage instantly. Rian's voice trembled. "Captain, it's healing," Laura whispered, like a living creature. The flagship opened a giant red eye-like structure and released a deafening pulse. Boom. Ring of red energy blasted out, shaking every human ship. Horizon-3 rattled violently. Rian grabbed the console. "Shields down to 60%. Myra steadied herself. "It's trying to break the Titan network." The Admiral shouted through the comms. "Stand firm. Maintain the link. Fire everything we have." Human ships responded immediately. Blue beams ripped across the flagship. The alien hull boiled under the pressure. Cracks widened. Energy leaked from its core. Humanity was winning, but the battle was far from over. The black void behind the flagship pulsed again. Bigger, deeper, darker. Laura looked at the screen, her face pale. "Captain, something huge is moving inside the void." Rion checked his scanners. His voice broke. "It's not just one thing. It's hundreds, maybe thousands." More dark shapes appeared inside the void, massive shadow forms with glowing red lights. The flagship roared again, sending another energy wave. Admiral Cade's voice tightened with urgency. "All ships, brace yourselves. This is only the beginning." Humanity had unleashed Titan Protocol. Their power had risen. But the true enemy was just arriving. The black void behind the alien flagship grew wider slowly, silently, like a great cosmic wound tearing open. Inside that darkness, shapes moved. Huge shapes. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. Their red eyes or engines saw, whatever they were, glowed like distant stars turning alive on Horizon 3. Fear gripped the crew. Rian stared at his scanner, his hands shaking. "Captain, this is not reinforcements. This is an invasion," Laura whispered. "If even one of those things enters our space, humanity is finished." Captain Mira's eyes locked on the void. She felt the danger deep in her bones, but the enemy flagship wasn't waiting. It pulsed with dark light, its weapon core now brighter than before. Rion swallowed hard. "Captain, it's charging a mega bigger than anything we've seen." Myra already knew. She could feel the vibration in the air, as if the flagship was pulling energy from the void itself. Suddenly, Admiral Cade spoke across the fleet. "All ships, focus fire on the flagship. It must be destroyed before the void fully opens." Human ships obeyed instantly. Blue plasma beams, railgun shots, and missile storms thundered across the battlefield. The flagship shook under the barrage, cracks tearing through its dark armor. But still, it did not fall. Instead, it screamed a deep, unnatural sound that vibrated across space. The sound made Horizon 3's hull tremble violently. Laura covered her ears. It's resisting. It's not enough. The void pulsed again, now so large that entire ships could disappear inside it. Dark shapes moved closer to the surface. Almost through then, the alien flagship opened its front core. A sphere of red-white energy formed at its center, growing by the second. Rion's eyes widened in horror. Captain, if that weapon fires, half the fleet will be vaporized. Mira stared at the glowing sphere. We need to stop it now. Admiral Cade's voice returned deep, heavy, decisive. Prepare for the fusion strike. The entire human fleet froze. Fusion strike. It was humanity's most powerful attack. Every ship combining their Titan protocol energy into one single shot. One shot strong enough to break a moon, or a planet. But it came with enormous risk. Rian turned to Myra. Captain, if even one ship misfires, the whole network could overload. Laura nodded. We could destroy ourselves. Mira exhaled slowly. Yes, but if we do nothing, the alien flagship will destroy us anyway. Across the battlefield, human ships shifted formation again. Blue energy flowed between them like rivers of lightning. Admiral Cade gave the order. All ships, charge the Titan core. The glow intensified. The sky turned blue. The nebula around them lit up like a sunrise. Myra felt the deck vibrate under her feet. It felt like the ship was breathing alive with power. Rion was glued to his console. Core energy at 20%. 40, 60. The alien flagship glowed even brighter, preparing to fire its own superweapon. Laura looked at the screen. Captain, we're running out of time. Energy meters climbed. 70%, 80, 90. Then everything went silent. The battlefield froze. Both fleets held their breath. Even Horizon 3 felt the silence. No alarms, no voices, no sound, just a heavy, terrifying stillness. It was the silent moment before destruction. The Admiral whispered through the calm. All ships, fire. Humanity unleashed a fusion strike. A single massive beam erupted from the center of the fleet, bright blue, hotter than a star. It tore through space, shaking the entire battlefield. The beam hit the alien flagship directly. The enemy vessel convulsed, its hull twisting violently. Red energy spilled from its wounds. Black metal shattered into pieces. The flagship's weapon sphere cracked, then exploded in a gigantic blast of red flames. The shockwave burst outward like a supernova. Horizon 3 rocked violently. Lights went out. Panels exploded. The crew held on desperately. Captain, Rian shouted, the void is collapsing. The black hole-like rift behind the flagship flickered wildly. Its edges shrank. Dark shapes inside it screamed and terrified motions before being pulled back into the darkness. Then BOOOOOM that the void imploded, collapsing inward until it became nothing more than a spark. Silence returned to the battlefield. This time, a true silence, a peaceful silence. The alien flagship was gone. The void was gone, and the enemy shapes inside it had vanished. Horizon 3 drifted quietly, its engines humming weakly as systems came back online. Rion let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. We did it. Laura rested her head against the console. My God, I thought it was over. Myra didn't speak. She watched the battlefield closely. Human ships glowed softly from leftover Titan energy. Wreckage floated across the now calm space. The enemy drones fell lifeless, dropping like stones. Admiral Cade's voice returned weak but proud. Humanity, it stands victorious. But Mira frowned. Something's wrong, she said. Rian turned to her. Captain, she pointed at her screen. There's still one signal left, Mira explained. Coming from the remains of the alien flagship. Laura gulped. A weapon. Myra shook her head slowly. No, a message. Rian read it aloud. 3 words. Terrifying words. We were scouts. Silence filled Horizon 3. The crew stared at one another. If these monsters, these living ships, were only scouts, then what was coming next? The message repeated again and again on Horizon 3's screen. We were scouts. Rian's voice cracked. Captain, scouts. These things were only scouts. The message felt like ice running through everyone's veins. If this massive army, if the living ships, if the dark void itself, was only the beginning, then what kind of power waited behind them? Captain Myra stood silently, staring at the flashing message. She felt dread crawling up her spine, but she forced her voice to remain calm. Patch me through to Admiral Cade. The comm opened with low static. Admiral Cade sounded exhausted, but steady. Horizon 3 report. Mira answered. Sir, we found a message hidden inside the flagship ruins. It says the enemy forces here were only scouts. A deep silence filled the channel. Cade finally spoke, voice heavier than space itself. I feared this. Their attack pattern was too organized for a simple invasion. Rian swallowed hard. You mean, someone was watching us? Testing us? Cade exhaled slowly. Yes, and now they know our strength. The entire bridge fell into a heavy, suffocating silence. The battlefield after the storm. Human ships drifted slowly across the ruined war zone. Emergency lights blinked. Rescue pods floated. Broken enemy drones scattered like dead insects. Yet, even after this victory, the stars felt tense. As if space itself was holding its breath. Laura looked out the viewport. It doesn't feel like we won. Myra nodded slowly. It feels like the real enemy hasn't arrived yet. On long-range sensors, faint radiation trails remained in the void's last position. Trails that didn't belong to the destroyed scouts. Trails from something far bigger. Rian checked his console. Captain, I'm detecting new patterns in the background noise. Like signals. Very faint, very distant. Laura asked. Human signals. Rian shook his head. No, these are different. Cleaner, older and stronger than anything we saw today. Suddenly beep, beep beep. The alarm blared again. Unknown object detected. Rian shouted. Horizon 3's crew sprang back into action. Myra rushed to the screen. What is it? Rian zoomed in. A small piece of the alien flagship, no bigger than a fighter craft, was still active. A dark cube, floating alone, but it glowed with a strange energy. Laura leaned forward. That wasn't there before. Mira felt a warning feeling rise in her chest. Scan it. Rian's fingers danced across the console. Then he froze. Oh no. Report, Myra demanded. Rian looked up, face pale. Captain, it's transmitting a signal across the galaxy. A beacon, a location marker. Laura covered her mouth. They're calling reinforcements. Myra clenched her fists. No, they're calling their masters. The cube pulsed red, sending powerful waves through subspace. The signal was so strong that every human ship felt it. Admiral Cade appeared instantly on the bridge screen, expression cold and controlled. Horizon 3, what did you find? Myra answered. An alien beacon, sir, active and growing stronger. The Admiral closed his eyes. Destroy it, Mira nodded. Horizon 3, preparing weapons. The ship's guns powered up. Horizon 3 fired a blast. A bright bolt of blue energy streaked across space and hit the cube. But instead of exploding, the cube absorbed the shot like water absorbing a drop. Rian gasped. It absorbed it, Laura whispered, terrified. What kind of technology is this? Myra grit her teeth. We fire again. Harder. They fired a full railgun volley. Nothing. The cube kept glowing. The beacon kept humming. The message kept sending. Cade's voice returned, quieter this time. We must evacuate the battlefield. The galaxy just learned that humanity is not alone, and not safe. The final transmission as the cube reached full brightness. It suddenly stopped. No pulse. No light. No movement. A calm, eerie silence. Then a voice spoke from the cube. Not deep like the enemy drones. Not mechanical like their ships. This voice was ancient, cold, smarter than any machine should be. It spoke in perfect, simple English. We have seen your strength. Everyone froze. The cube continued. Your victory today was expected. Mira felt a chill crawl up her arms. Expected. The voice deepened. Prepare your worlds. Rian whispered. What does that mean? The cube answered, as if hearing his thought. For the real war begins soon. Then the cube cracked, split into thousands of pieces and dissolved into dust. Gone. No trail. No signature. No target. Just one final message burned into every screen across the human fleet. We are coming. A new beginning. The battlefield was quiet again. But this time, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was a warning. Admiral Cade spoke one last time. All ships, we're returned to Earth. Humanity must prepare. Mira took a deep breath and whispered, this was not the end. Laura nodded. This was only the first chapter. Rian stared at the dark stars ahead. And far in the distance, very far, a faint red glow appeared in the cosmos. Growing, spreading, approaching. The real enemy was already on its way. The human fleet left the war zone slowly, engines glowing in the dark. The stars felt different now, colder, as if the universe had learned a dangerous secret on Horizon 3. The crew was silent. No victory, cheers. No celebrations. Only fear, and questions that had no answers. Rian finally spoke, voice shaking. Captain, everything we saw today, the scouts, the void, the beacon, does this mean the real enemy is bigger than we imagined? Captain Myra did not answer, because she did not know how big the real threat was. Laura hugged her arms, whispering to herself, if this was the beginning, what is waiting out there? Mira walked to the front window of Horizon 3. The stars looked peaceful, but she knew the truth. Peace was only a mask. War was coming, and humanity was not ready. The debriefing hours later. Horizon 3 connected to the command ship Resolute. Dawn for a full investigation meeting. Admiral Cade appeared on the screen. He looked older, like the battle had added years to his face. Mira, Rian, Laura, we need your full report. Myra stood straight. We encountered an alien beacon that absorbed all attacks. Then it broadcasted a message to the entire galaxy. Cade nodded slowly. That message reached human colonies up to 20 light years away. We are tracking the signal. It is still traveling. Laura asked, Sir, where is it going? Cade answered, voice tense. It is heading into deep space, toward a region we have never explored. Rian frowned. Why would the enemy send a message there? Cade looked down, as if choosing his words. Because something is already waking up in that region. And then in front of the whole room he showed them the new scan data. The impossible discovery on the screen. A dark cluster of stars appeared. Inside the cluster, a shape glowed faint red, a shape larger than any planet. Larger than any starship design humanity ever imagined. Laura gasped. Sir, that's not a ship. That's a whole city. Rian zoomed in. No, not a city. It's moving. The red shape pulsed like a beating heart, Myra whispered. A living mega. The Admiral confirmed with a nod. We believe that is their home fortress. Maybe even their queen. Or their master. Rian felt his stomach twist. All this time, we only fought drones. Automated soldiers. Cade agreed. The real enemy has not touched the battlefield yet. The screen suddenly flickered. Lines of unreadable alien symbols appeared. Laura stepped closer. Are we being hacked? Myra's instinct screamed. No, this is not a hack. Rian looked at her, confused. What do you mean? Before she could answer, the alien symbols rearranged themselves. They formed human letters. Then a message appeared. We are awake. The crew froze. The message changed again. We know where you are. Rian stumbled backward. How can they contact us from that far away? Admiral Cade responded, voice grim. They are not contacting us. They are speaking into our minds. The touch of the enemy. Suddenly the room felt colder. Lights dimmed. The air seemed heavier. Laura grabbed her head. Something is inside my thoughts. Rian did the same. It's like someone is searching through my memories. Myra clenched her jaw. Focus, fight back. But the voice grew stronger. Not heard through ears but inside their minds. You destroyed our scouts. We watched. We learned. The crew shook, struggling to push the voice away. The message deepened. Now we will come for you. Myra slammed her fist onto the console. Get out of our heads. The lights flashed. The voice disappeared. Silence returned. Everyone breathed hard, as if resurfacing after drowning. Rian looked terrified. They can reach us from light years away. They can speak inside our minds. How do we fight something like that? Cade answered softly. We don't know. Not yet. Humanity's choice. Admiral Cade straightened his uniform. Listen closely. We will not hide. We will not surrender. Humanity has only one path. Myra nodded. We prepare, Cade continued. We are activating the Titan defense network. Every ship, every station, every colony will be turned into a fortress, Laura added. And her. Cade looked at them with steady eyes. Horizon 3 will lead the first scouting mission to the enemy's region. Rian's voice cracked. We have to go there. Cade nodded once. You are the only crew who has seen the enemy up close. You understand their patterns, their energy signatures, their behavior. Myra took a breath. It will be dangerous, Cade replied. It will be deadly. A long silence followed. Then Myra spoke firmly. Horizon 3 accepts the mission. Rian and Laura looked at her, fear in their eyes. But also something else. Courage. Myra stood tall. If the enemy is coming for humanity, we will meet them first. Rian nodded. Before they reach Earth. Laura, before they reach our homes. Cade ended the call with one final order. Prepare yourselves, for humanity's darkest journey begins now. The final Horizon 3 turned its engines. The ship faced the direction of the Dark Star cluster, where the enemy fortress waited. The crew knew the truth. This was not a rescue mission, not a warning mission, not a diplomacy attempt. This was a suicide mission with a purpose, to learn what humanity was truly fighting, to understand the enemy before the galaxy burned. Horizon 3 jumped into the dark, toward the heart of the enemy, toward the beginning of a new war.